Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 601st Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away you'll see that this is a Barbarian invasion game played on a custom map hosted by Brotherhood member First Prime. And this is a very unusual 4v4 Barbarian invasion battle. We don't get many of these, and I think this is a great battle for you to watch. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Barbarian, who has bought the Saxon faction. Okay, this is one of his favoured factions on Barbarian invasion. And if you notice here, you'll see that most of his army consists, I believe, of chosen axemen. Okay, now these chosen axemen are effective against armour, and they do exactly what it says on the tin. They are effective against armour and cut wide swathes through heavily armoured troops like Roman troops, for instance, and are a good unit to bring to the Saxon battlefield. And there we have his Saxon hearth troops, and these guys are the elite infantry of the Saxons. I think with just gold defence on, they've got like something like 28 defence just with a gold shield on. So that just goes to show how steady those troops are. So that's a good combination of troops. They're chosen axemen and the hearth troops. Then he's got his mounted nobles cavalry unit there as his general unit. Now these cavalry are probably what I would call mediocre cavalry. They're not elite, but they're not poor either. So I think that's a pretty good tried and tested Barclayman Saxon army. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Sassanid faction. Okay, now Mad King has got 10 infantry, 4 archers and 5 cavalry. A quick look there, you'll see he's got the Sugdian warriors, and if you notice they carry effective against armor maces. Can you see there? Those effective against armor maces, and these infantry are good, solid, elite infantry. And with those effective against armor maces, they're really good attacking troops. Then they've got the desert archers, and these guys got long range and can do a lot of damage. So they're quite elite archers as well. So that's 2 of the units. The Sugdian warriors and the archers are elite units, but their main strength is their cavalry, the cataphracts here. Okay, if you look closely, you'll see these really are the tanks of the Barbarian invasion world. They're armoured from head to toe. I think the biggest charge bonus on this game is 10, and these guys have got 9. Remember, the charge bonus is the impact and penetration that a unit can do, and the highest charge bonus is 10, and these guys have got a 9 charge bonus. And I think with just gold shield on, they've got something like a 36 defence. Plus really good specifications on top of that. So the Sassanid faction is a really solid faction to bring on Barbarian Invasion. If ever you play Barbarian Invasion, give it a try. And here is a Clibanarii Immortal unit here. Okay, now he's made this his general unit. If you notice they're a horse archer unit, but if you alt attack them, they use effective against armor maces. And I would say probably pound for pound, this is possibly the best cavalry unit in the game here. Okay. So as I say, there you go, that's a good tried and tested Sassanid army of Mad Kings. Our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Roman Eastern Empire Rebels. Okay, the Roman Eastern Empire Rebels. I've got Plumbartri units there. Let's have a closer look there. You can see the Plumbartri. You can see they're hiding at the moment. Can you see how they're crouched down in the woods? They're hiding. If you notice, if you look at their shields, can you see they've got their Plumbarti effective against armor metal tip darts clipped to the inside of their shields? Okay, each one of these Plumbartri units can throw 810 of those effective against armor metal tip darts called Plumbarti. Okay, also I've got my Legio Lanciarii. These are anti-cavalry spear units, and I put these on the front of my battle formation so that they tend to put cavalry attacks off of trying to attack the front of my battle formation there. They would neutralise them very well. And of course I've got my Equitite Clibanarii cavalry, where they're effective against armor maces. And remember, these cavalry are so tough, you can leave them in fighting infantry and they'll still do really good. So there's my Roman army there. Also, I've got Comitatenses, the Eagle units there. Can you see? There's a big 122 man units there. And as I say, they are called Comitatenses. And of course, with so many of those, I think I've got 5 or 6 of those. They give a lot of morale to my troops. And our last teammate is Brotherhood member Demon. He has also bought the Roman Eastern Empire Rebels. And if you notice here, he's got Eastern archers there. Now these guys have got a long range, good armor, and do a lot of damage, so they're well worth bringing, especially when you're against barbarian troops. Against other Roman troops, so they don't do a lot of damage, but against barbarian troops they do. And he's got a lot of Plumbartri units in his army. I think he's got 12 Plumbartri units, plus he's got a priest unit there. Look, Okay, remember what we said in Barbarian Invasion before. Morale is very, very important in Barbarian Invasion, and to bring a unit that gives your troops extra morale, keeps them fighting longer, is a really good tactical move. So make sure that you do that if ever you play that. Bring a religious unit. And of course, he's got this Equite Clibanarii cavalry as well, with their effective against armor maces. That looks suspiciously like rolling pins. And as I said before, I wonder if they do bacon in their part-time. No, I was only joking there. But there you go. So there's our team. Should be a great battle for you to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. And here is the other team. We have the host of the battle, First Prime, who has bought the Roman Eastern Empire army. This is his faction of choice. Whenever we play Barbarian Invasion, this is the army he likes to bring. And I think he's got something like about 15 Plumbarteri units and one Comitatensis unit. So as I say, each one of those Plumbarteri units can throw 810 effective against armor darts, so you can see the firepower that he's bringing to the battlefield. Plus he's got a religious unit, like we said before, for extra morale, keeps his troops fighting longer, and he's got 3 Equite Clibanarii. But as you can see, his main strength here is his 16 infantry units, and as I say, 15 of those are the Plumbarteri that can throw those effective against armor metal tip darts. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Danny. He's also got the Roman Eastern Empire faction there. This is his faction of choice. This is the faction that he usually brings as well. And in his army, he's got something like 12 or 13 Plumbarteri. Once again, he's got a religious unit. As I said, I can't emphasize to you how important it is to have a religious unit in your armies to give the extra morale bonus, because morale is so important on Barbarian Invasion. Their third teammate is Greek clansman Tomaleos. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first time he's ever played Barbarian Invasion, and he has bought the Franks faction. I think he's got 13 Francisca Herban axemen. Now remember, these axemen, those axes that you're seeing there are throwing axes. So I think they can throw, each one of those units can throw 3, men can throw 3 of those throwing axes, and then they use the axes effective against armor axes for hand-to-hand fighting. He's also got a religious unit here as well. As I say, can't emphasize how much it is important to bring a religious unit there for the morale. And also in this army, he's got the elite paladins. Okay, and if you notice here, he's got 7 upgrades. Now these cavalry are elite cavalry and very expensive. Now to put an experience stripe on them would have cost him a lot of money. The biggest charge bonus in this game is 10, and these guys have got that. Remember, the charge bonus is the penetration and impact of a unit, and these guys got the maximum 10 charge bonus, plus they got really good specifications on top of that. So make no mistake, these paladins are elite cavalry and very expensive. So the Frankish faction is a really good faction there, with those axe throwing Francisca Herban infantry and those paladins. Really good faction there. And their last teammate is Brotherhood member Aurelius, who has bought the Burgundi faction. Okay, now this is his faction of choice in Barbarian Invasion. I see he brings this faction all the time. He's got a tried and tested army here. You can see there he's got his effective against armor axemen, okay, and these really are effective. And then he's got the infamous Night Raiders. Okay, now on this game, the Night Raiders got effective against armor axes, but their main thing is that they bring a big fear factor. As I said before, taking morale away from enemy troops. Morale is such an important factor on Barbarian Invasion that if you can bring a unit that takes morale away from enemy units, then that's a really good tactical thing to do. And as you can see, he's done that. Plus, he's got his 2 Berserker units here, and these guys have got big attacking specifications, but they also bring a big fear factor to the battlefield, taking morale away from enemy troops. Okay, so this army here is very formidable, not just for the units that it brings, but also for the fear factor. So as I say, the Night Raiders and the Berserkers here are going to take away so much morale from enemy troops that they could cause mass routs. And then he's got the Burgundian Lancers. Look at the upgrades on those Lancers. 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. And remember, as we said, the biggest charge you get in this game is 10, and these guys have got that 10 charge bonus. Okay, plus they got good specifications, plus they are heavy cavalry, but they are fast moving, so they're a really good cavalry unit to bring. Fast moving but heavy. So there you go, there's the other team there. Plus he's got his peasant unit there that he uses so well to soak up enemy missiles, and my guess is he'll do the same in this battle as well. So there's the enemy team. It should be a great one for you to watch. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle here, you can see Mad King using his Clibanarii Immortal fast-moving general unit here to harass and harangue the enemy team. Okay, now remember, like we said before, this Clibanarii Immortal unit is a horse archer unit, primarily a horse archer unit, but if you alt attack it, it does use effective against armor maces. Now, remember, barbarian troops, whether it's cavalry or infantry, are very susceptible to any kind of archer damage, whereas Roman troops are not here. So what Mad King would like to do with this unit is get close to Aurelius's Burgundy units there. That's what he'd like to do. He'd like to get close to them so that he can target those barbarian troops. Let's go for a ride with this immortal unit here. And there you are, he stood back now, he can start shooting arrows there into... But if you notice here, he's not being shot at by archers, but he's having effective against armor metal tipped darts thrown at him, which will do him some damage there if he gets too close. Archer damage doesn't seem to hurt this unit, but of course those effective against armor metal tipped darts will do some damage to him. There you can see the darts going in there, and it's actually caused him some casualties there. As I say, archer damage just seems, the arrows just seem to bounce off this unit, but those obviously those effective against armor plumbarti metal tipped darts will cause him casualties there. But here you can just see he's just loitering there. He's just trying to like kind of harass and harangue there. If you notice, he's shooting arrows into them as well, just trying to cause a bit of disruption with this unit. And we've seen this done with units in Rome Total War as well. I think Lando, Brotherhood member Lando, uses his cavalry general extremely well in harassing and haranguing the enemy armies, as Mad King is doing here. Okay, at this stage of the battle here, you can see that what Mad King would like to do with that fast-moving unit is to try and activate the enemy berserker. See, he'd love to take that unit round the rear of the enemy team and get near or actually attack these two berserker units. Now, as we know, if the berserker units are touched by an enemy unit, or an enemy unit gets close to them, they become activated, and the Burgundy general Aurelius would lose all control over them, and they would just chase the nearest enemy unit. So Mad King could take those berserkers all over the battlefield away from the main battle if he could activate them. So that's what he would like to do with that fast moving unit. But of course Aurelius knows this, and look how he set his cavalry blocking force out there. Okay, he knows that Mad King really would like to get round there and activate those berserkers. So what he's done there, he's done a really good tactical move there and put that blocking cavalry force out there to stop him from getting round there to activate his berserkers. So that was a nice move there by Aurelius, and it probably frustrated Mad King a little bit. Okay, you can see Mad King here moving his Sassanid army a little bit away from his allies here. Okay, can you see here he's moving over to the left here with his Sassanid army, getting a little bit further away from his allies here. Now, do you think if you were the other team, you might look at this as maybe a bit of a weakness, a bit of an isolation move there, which they could attack? Because look how far away he's moving from his allies there. So I just wonder if you guys, if you were the other team, would you think, well, that might be a target for the enemy team to hit? I don't know what you guys think there. Could well be. And if you notice here with his with his Clibanarii Immortal unit here, okay, so pause the game for a second. Now his arrows won't do any damage at all to those Equitai Clibanarii Roman cavalry there. He knows that. Okay, so what he's going to do is fire over the heads of those Equitai Clibanarii into the barbarian cavalry, because as I say, all barbarian units in barbarian armies are susceptible to archer fire. So what my guess is he's going to do here, he's not going to bother to shoot into those Equitai Clibanarii where he knows he won't do any damage, but he might shoot over the head of those Equitai Clibanarii cavalry into the flank of that barbarian cavalry lancer unit there, and he will do damage to that unit there. As I say, he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he's harassing, haranguing, bothering the enemy team, looking to kind of cause a bit of disruption there. Yeah, you can see he's shooting into that unit now. Now whether the enemy cavalry would try and chase off his general unit, that might be a thing to do there, but you can see here he's causing casualties in that Burgundian Lancer unit there just from shooting. As I say, he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he's going to cause a bit of harassment, which is what he wants to do, a bit of disruption there. Let's see, now they're going to have to chase him off here. So as I say, he's doing like what Lando would do an RTW. Let's see, he's still shooting arrows into these units now, still causing casualties. So he's reduced that unit from 54 down to 46 just through harassment tactics there. Look. And you can see Danny's brought that cavalry unit out, but he's going to back off now because he can see the Sassanid cataphracts coming towards him there. Okay, so as I say, I think Mad King's doing a good job with that unit. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say, you can see here a Barclayman's got his Levy Spearmen there as pile shield units in front of his main army. And of course with the firepower that especially Danny and First Prime can bring, that pile shield unit is going to be essential to save his elite troops from being damaged from the firepower that they can bring. Of course you've got those Francisca Herban Frankish axe throwing troops as well. And as I say here, you can see there's my army there, and there's Demon's army there. But if you notice, our Sassanid ally seems to have moved away a long way from us here. I don't know what you think. If you were the other team here, would you think that the Sassanids could well be a good target? A little bit isolated there, do you think? A little bit exposed to an enemy hit? We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, it's still a very early stage of the battle. You can see in First Prime here laying his credentials straight on the table. Very aggressive, very attacking as he always is. And here you are, you can see he's attacking Demon here on our right flank. Okay, as we know, First Prime very aggressive, very attacking there. And if you look here, you can see that Aurelius is moving his Burgundi troops over to this left flank as well. So what I'm thinking here is that they're going to do a massive attack here on our right flank. Okay, this is where the hammer blow is going to fall the hardest here, looking at the disposition of their troops. And I think Demon's going to take the brunt of the attack here, looking, as I say, to the disposition of the enemy troops here. Okay, as I say, look at First Prime straight in there. No messing around, very aggressive, very attacking. But look at the missiles that they're exchanging there. Those effective against armour, metal tipped darts, a plumbartite. Just look, it's like raining plumbartite there. Look at those darts going into each other. And bearing in mind, as I say, they're effective against armour. They are going to be causing massive casualties here. I mean, those are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of those darts being thrown both ways there, causing massive casualties there. Look at this one unit here of First Primes. At 2 men left there. 2 men left in that unit. Let one down, 1 man left, now dead. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second here. So that entire unit of 81 men has just been taken out solely by missile fire. No hand-to-hand fighting or anything like that, solely by missile fire. This is the firepower that Roman troops can bring on barbarian invasion. Okay, so as I say, there are massive casualties being caused to both armies there. With the darts are moving in. But as I say, look at Aurelius moving his Burgundi army over. And look at the cavalry, the way the cavalry are all distributed there. It looks to me like there's going to be a massive attack here on the right flank. And if they rout Demon, it could cause a mass rout of our entire armies. And of course that would be the end of the battle then. But I just want you to concentrate here on just looking at the volume of missiles being exchanged by these two Roman armies. As I say, imagine if you had a barbarian army which doesn't throw missiles receiving this massive missile attack on them. Imagine the casualties they could cause before you even get into hand-to-hand fighting. But look at Aurelius as Burgundi troops. As I can say, look at that. It looks to me like First Prime and Aurelius here are going to smash into Demon's army. I can see their cavalry are positioned to charge in as well. And if you notice here, a lot of Demon's units are starting to rout now with the pressure here. You notice here First Prime's being the leading edge of the attack, taking the missiles, making first contact with the enemy, and then the barbarian troops are going to go through his troops into Demon's infantry there. Okay, a nice attack here by First Prime and Aurelius. Really good tactical move there, as I say, letting First Prime's well-armoured troops take the first contact with the enemy. Here comes Demon's cavalry, and bang, as he smashes in there into the flank of the attacking enemy troops there. Nice hit there with his Equitai Clibanarii cavalry. Okay, so let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say, nice flanking cavalry attack there by Demon, straight into First Prime and Aurelius is attacking infantry. But as you can see here, the enemy are really pushing in on Demon's infantry here. As I say, if his troops mass rout, that could lead to a mass rout to my army and could spread all the way down the line. Here you can see the enemy cavalry here, locked and loaded, ready to charge into Demon's infantry here. Make no mistake, this is where the hammer blow is going to fall the hardest here on our right flank. Meanwhile, over in our left centre and left flank there, you can see Danny and the Greek Ptolemaios there with his Frankish troops moving forward towards Barclayman and Mad King's infantry there. So they look like they're going to attack on that flank there, just to hold and pin those two so they maybe can't send reinforcements over to the other flank, where at this time that they're hammering the other flank there. You can see that where the cavalry are locked and loaded, that they could charge on either flank there. But as I say, here it looks to me like they've decided that here is where they're going to try and break our team. And as you can see, the enemy cavalry coming in there, you can see a lot of demons units starting to rout, and here comes the enemy cavalry, and bang! And bang, as both lots of cavalry smash into demons infantry there. And right, you can see demons general has now been routed, and you can see a lot of his infantry units now are cracking under the pressure of the enemy attack. Okay, there's one berserker unit's been activated by Aurelius, bringing that big fear factor, taking morale away from demons troops, making them more susceptible to routing, and he's activated the other berserker as well. So both Aurelius's berserkers have now been activated there, using that morale drain that they bring to the battlefield there to drain the morale away from Demon's army there. But as I say, you can see all the enemy cavalry there charging in. Demon's got his cavalry still involved there, but they are being really smashed by enemy units crashing into him there. But as I say, look, Demon's infantry are basically broken there, and our right flank has basically been broken here by a massive attack there by the enemy team. Right, you can see I'm charging my cavalry in there, and bang! I smash into the enemy troops there. Okay, I've charged my cavalry. Remember these Equitai Clibanarii, you don't need to pull them back. They're effective against armor maces. They can do really good against enemy infantry. So I'm going to leave my cavalry in there fighting the enemy infantry. I'm moving my infantry forward as well to attack the enemy infantry. But here comes that more cavalry charging in there, and bang, as that charges in. You can see Aurelius's lancers with their 9 charge bonus smashing in there as well. Okay, so you've got all the enemy infantry of First Prime charging in there. You've got all of First Prime's cavalry. You've got all of Aurelius's infantry and cavalry charging in there. And look, you can see Demon's general's been routed, and you can see that his units are actually routing there. I've got my cavalry in there. I'm going to leave them fighting. I'm not going to pull them out. I'm going to leave them fighting there. I've thrown in infantry units there as well to try and shore up our right flank and right centre. But make no mistake here, the enemy troops are on the front foot here, and they, as I say, you can see how many of our allies' units have been routed here, and they are really trying to break our right flank and right centre here. There's Aurelius's Burgundian Lancers charging there with that maximum charge bonus of 10. Here you can see that Mad King has locked and loaded his cataphracts. Remember, they've got a 9 charge bonus and fantastic specifications, including a 36 defence. They're going to charge in there and try and hold our right flank here, but just look at the enemy numbers coming in on us there. Meanwhile, over on our left flank and left centre, you can see that Greek Ptolemaios here has attacked with his Frankish troops against Barclayman's infantry. Barclayman's infantry, these couple of units seem to be holding okay, but I've noticed that a couple of other of his units have already been routed by these guys. The casualties that they would have caused by throwing the axes in first would have weakened those Saxon units and made them rout on contact. So as I say here, the enemy are moving. You can see Danny here moving his entire Roman army in here as well. Looks like it's basically untouched. Now he may well try this flanking action round here. He may well try and come round our left flank here. Look, that might be a good move, coming round the left flank and then charge into our flank there. That may well be something that Danny may well be thinking about doing with his army there. And as I say, there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment, and as you can see, we are clearly losing the battle here. As I say, Mad King has got his cavalry locked and loaded, ready to charge into the fray. But I think all of Demon's cavalry has just been taken out as well. Yeah, all of Demon's cavalry has just been taken out there, and they are really concentrating on my infantry and cavalry there. There's those paladins going in there, and bang, as they charge in there. They've got the maximum 10 charge bonus as well. Remember, the charge bonus is impact and penetration. They just charge in there. He's pulling the cavalry back to lock and load it and charge it back in again. But as I say, I've got a lot of my infantry in there. I've got my cavalry fighting there as well. I've kept a few of my infantry back there ready to throw in as a last resort there. But just look at the numbers of enemy troops there, plus those 2 berserker units are there as well. You can see Barclayman has brought some of his Saxon effective against armour axemen over. As I say, I've still got a couple of my units left to throw in there as a final throw of the dice. But here you can see Mad King going to charge 3 of his units in there. Get ready for the impact and penetration there. Remember, they've got a 9 charge bonus, and bang, as they smash in there. Nice hit there by his cataphracts there. Routed a couple of enemy units on impact. Look at the penetration of that unit. Look how that's penetrating into the enemy ranks there. That was a nice hit there by Mad King with his cataphracts. But this, make no mistake, I think here is going to be the make or break of the battle. Here you can see those paladins getting ready to charge in again. There, you can see with their 10 charge bonus. Here you can see Mad King has brought his infantry over as well. His Sugdian warriors. Can you see he's brought his infantry over here as well? Great support there. He's going to charge another couple of his cataphracts in there. Look, and bang, as they charge in there. So Mad King bringing his cavalry and infantry over to this flank could well have saved the day there. Right, let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, here you can see he's brought his Sugdian warriors over here with their effective against armor maces. Really good solid infantry. Plus he's got his cataphracts charging in there. Plus I've got my infantry in there as well, and my cavalry fighting to the last man. Okay, he's still got a couple of his cataphracts here ready to charge in. Okay, so if he could charge in there, that might cause a problem to the enemy. But here you can see the Barclayman has brought his cavalry out of hiding, charging to the rear of Danny, and this in turn is bringing the paladins from the left flank, which was we were breaking there. He's bringing those paladins over to attack Barclayman's cavalry there. So that's a nice move, bringing those paladins away from that flank. But as you can see here, those Francisca Herban axemen there are starting to move in on our infantry on that flank. And all of Danny's infantry, look, is basically, he may well have suffered some casualties from missiles there, but his army is basically intact. And if he charges into the flank there with his army, then that could be the end of the game for us, I think. We're just about holding on, but you can see several of my units are routing here now under the pressure of the enemy team. Okay, but as I say, Mad King's brought his Sugdian warriors over here with their effective against armor maces. You've got Barclayman's throwing some of his effective against armor axemen in there as well. But as I say, this could be the make or break of the battle here on our right flank. There's some more enemy cavalry charging in there. But you can see several of the enemy units are starting to rout now under the pressure here. If you notice here, the Sassanid cataphracts there, Mad King's leaving them in there so they can use their effective against armor maces there, or swords, whichever they use. There you go, and you can see there, it looks like we've taken out the Frankish general, which is good news for us. But you can see the pressure is still here on our right flank. I've got my cavalry there, my Equitai Clibanarii cavalry still fighting there. Look, just left him in there. I charged him in there earlier on in the battle. Here you can see Mad King charging his cataphracts in again. Look, and bang, as they charge in there as well. Really putting it up here. Ah, that's good news for us. Right, let's pause the game for a second here. So with the Sugdian warriors charging forward, and my cavalry charging there, the Sassanid cataphracts charging there, we have managed to rout now for most of First Prime's infantry, and I think most of Aurelius's Burgundi faction there as well, most of his infantry there. Okay, but over here on our left flank, you can see that Danny and the Frankish general there have still got a lot of their troops there. In fact, Danny's army looks almost kind of intact there to charge in there. And over here you can see that the Saxon mounted noble cavalry here are fighting the paladins here. As I say, the paladins are elite cavalry, and those Saxon nobles are probably about mediocre cavalry there, so the paladins should win. Okay, but over here, if you notice, there's some more paladins here. So he split his cavalry there, brought 3 over here, left 3 over on the other flank. But as I say, here it looks like we've managed to rout First Prime's army and Aurelius's army there. So we've turned things around a little bit on this flank here. This is the flank they were going to break us here. This is where the hammer blow fell the hardest onto our flank. This is where they were going to break us here, but we've managed to hold and counter-attack here. And here you can see the paladins fighting the cataphracts here. Okay, I think actually the cataphracts, if they're alt-attack, use swords, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there you go. You can see the cataphracts are being alt-attacked. They're using their heavy swords instead of their light lances there. And as I say, you can see the paladins have been alt-attacked as well, because they're using their heavy swords instead of their lances as well. But I think the numbers are going to tell there. Okay, so this is good news for us. We've routed First Prime and Aurelius's army here. But what we mustn't do is let them rally. We mustn't let them rally. How many battles, veterans watching this, have you seen where rallied troops have come back and turned the battle? Here you can see Danny here has turned his army. Remember, he was facing forward. He's now turned his army here to face a threat coming in from us on the flank there. Okay, so as I say, we've managed to rout most of the enemy army on our right flank. Here you can see those Francisca Herban axemen still fighting against the Saxons here. Okay, so they're still there, and of course you've got basically all of Danny's army there to fight our battle damaged troops. So as I say, you know, we're now going to attack Danny's troops. If you notice, I'm throwing my infantry straight, and I don't want to let him get comfortable and form up with his troops exactly where he wants to. I want to attack here, try and put pressure on him. You can see that some of his units are throwing pilers into my troops there. We've still got some missile units left. They've still got some missiles to throw into my units there. So he's still going to cause damage from that point of view. But if you notice, I've charged my green Roman troops in there. As I say, I don't want to give them a chance to form up as they want to. I want to try and keep them on the hop there. I think some of Demon's infantry has rallied there. I can see some of Demon's infantry coming back into the fray. So as I say, here we are now attacking Danny's troops here with what we've got left of our battle damaged troops. As I say, look at the missiles that these guys are still throwing into us here. They're still causing casualties. Look, before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting. There you can see one of my cavalry units. I'm charging into Danny's infantry there. Look. Bang! As that unit smashes in there. So, as I say, we really are being aggressive here towards Danny's infantry. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So, you can see a lot of the Frankish axemen are still there. Danny's infantry, still a lot of Danny's infantry there as well. I'm throwing out my infantry. As I say, being very aggressive here towards Danny, but he's still got, look, he's still got big units, almost untouched here, and he's still got lots of his units here. Remember, the enemy are the blue Frankish troops and the purple Roman troops there. Just look at the numbers they've got there, and they haven't been engaged, so they're going to have fresh units there. So, as I say here, the battle is still up in the air at the moment. And as I say, we turn things around on our right flank here, but our battle damaged troops may not be able to finish off the enemy here. There you can see the Saxons charging in there. We're still pushing in. Right, here comes the Sassanid cavalry. My guess he's going to go for Danny's general. There you are, Mad King's going to go for Danny's general there. Bang! And he smashes in there, straight through, and bang! Routs Danny's general. Nice surgical hit there by Mad King, using his cataphracts extremely well there to target Danny's general. And of course, as soon as Danny's general has been routed there, and his team loses that, and his army, loses that general morale bonus, then his army mass routs there. So that was a nice hit there by Mad King there. As I say, we were very aggressive there towards Danny, didn't really want to let him settle. But here, I think, is where the battle was made, or you know, this is where the battle was made here, I think, really. Because, you know, you saw the massive attack the enemy put in here. How we managed to hold, I don't really know, really, because that was some kind of massive attack they put in there. And if they'd got a few of our units starting to rout, they would have, undoubtedly had a mass rout here. So as I say, just look at that mass of dead there. That just goes to show how intense the battle was on this right flank of ours, where they really tried to break us. And here, if we go across the battlefield here, you can see there are dead troops from one flank to the other here, where the enemy was very aggressive. Remember that Danny and the Frankish general were both very aggressive on our left flank and left centre as well, pushing in on us, causing us casualties there. So, as I say, it's very, very intense 4v4 battle there. And you can see a lot of Saxon troops were killed there by missiles before they even got into hand-to-hand fighting. So that's the, as I say, in this game, the missile damage that Roman troops can do is absolutely phenomenal. And here you can see Mad King was not going to allow any of the enemy troops to rally. He's still chasing them down with his infantry now. Okay, so that was a good move. A good tip for newer players to roam Total War. Never let the enemy units rally, because they can come back and turn the battle and then bite you in the butt with those rallied units, okay? There's, I think, that's Danny's cavalry unit, Demons being charged into there by Danny's cavalry unit. See, once again, he's auto-attacked them there, using their effective against armor maces, but it looks like we've managed to go on to win the battle there. Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Really good. As I say, very unusual 4v4 Barbarian invasion battle. We very rarely get 4v4. But as highest kills go to Brotherhood member Mad King with his Sassanid army. 1,574 kills with Sassanids. Well done to Mad King. Sassanids are Mad King's faction of choice. Second highest kills goes to Greek Ptolemaios with his Frankish troops. And as I say, as far as I know, that's the first time he's played Barbarian invasion. So to get the second highest kills really good for him there. So really well done. To say it was an average victory there. I thought it might have been close. So well done to brother member First Prime. Possibly didn't get the kills that he wanted to there, but he was very aggressive right from the beginning. So well done to him. Well done to brother member Danny. He possibly didn't get the kills that he would usually get, but he was also very aggressive there. So well done to you two guys. Well done to Greek Tomaleos there with his Frankish army. Second highest kills in the game, and only the first time that he's played Barbarian Invasion. So well done to him. And well done to Aurelius. Probably didn't get the kills that he wanted to there. But as I say, their whole team was very aggressive, very attacking. So well done to them. That Roman army of mine didn't do too badly. 1,225 kills, not bad. Well done to Demon. Now bearing in mind he was kind of smashed on that right flank, I think he got some really good kills there. Well done to Barclay man there with his Saxon army. Handled them very well. Good support all over the battlefield. And as I say, well done to Mad King with his Sassanids. Highest kills in the game with his faction of choice. So as I say, a very rare 4v4 Barbarian Invasion. Tough battle that was. And as I say, I like the diversity. Let Rome, Saxons and Sassanid in our army. And then you got Rome, the Frankish and Burgundi units in the enemy team there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this very rare 4v4 Barbarian Invasion battle. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.